I've played hundreds, maybe even thousands of hours of Pokemon fan games. So today I compiled a list of the top 10 fan games I have ever played in my life for you people. Do keep in mind that I haven't played every fan game under the sun yet, so if your favorite fan game isn't on this list, leave it down in the comments below and I might check it out in the future because I might not have played it at all. This is also not a list of games that just came out in 2023, no, it's an overall list, so nothing is off the table. With that being said, let's jump right into our number 10, which is Pokemon Bushido. A game that came out back in 2021, where you have to play as a samurai and team up with other clans to defeat the evil Akui clan, who works with actual shadow Pokemon from Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness and Colosseum. It features an entire new region with up to 15 hours of gameplay, so it's quite short but definitely sweet. If the samurais aren't slashing you up, that is. You also need to gather the help of Virizion, Terrakion, and Cobalion and their imbued katanas to defeat the world's most atrocious samurai and their shadow Lugia, together with all the friends you made along the way. The game also features Pokemon up to Generation 8, new battle animations, and even a speed up, which is something I personally love so I can get through the game faster. Pokemon Bushido really is great, but I do feel like there's a couple of things missing, hence why it's my number 10 pick. Koga, is that you? No, don't throw that smoke ball. You know we have to move on to number 9 if you throw it. Wait, how did I just wake up in this gym? Oh, that's right, I have to take on these challengers because we're in Pokemon This Gym of Mine. A fan game that does the exact thing that the title tells you. Run your very own gym. As the citizens of Umball City are suddenly without one because the last gym leader left on a very strange note, not telling anybody where he went, and so you'll have to fill his shoes. You have to pick the type of your gym, then you can choose between 3 starter Pokemon that have that typing, and then it's time to build your team. You can only use Pokemon that are from the typing you chose, but you can also choose one Pokemon that's a different typing, but it must have your gym's signature move, which always varies on the type that you chose. For example, I picked Ground in my video, and that gave me the Earthquake TM to give out to people that managed to beat me. This game isn't just a regular gym leader simulator, you also have to play through a very dark story with secrets to uncover, people to save, and a city to maintain. That's right, you can actually physically build buildings that will generate revenue for you by attracting tourists, and with that money you can then spend it on more team building or on more buildings to become the richest man on earth. So if you've ever wanted to jump into the shoes of a gym leader, this is the game for you. But you know where there's no gym leaders at all? Ultra Space. So let's hop right on our Solgaleo, hop into this wormhole, and check out our number 8 pick, Pokemon Ultralight, which itself is a very short game. I myself made a video on it and it only took me around 5 hours to get through, but you need to realize how good this game really is. You get to join the Ultra Recon Squad from Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. And speaking of the Alola region, this game is a prequel to Ultra Sun and Moon as it sets itself 300 years before those events. On top of this, it's also a roguelite game, so you have to battle your way through different dimensions, and once you get through a dimension, you get sent to the next one, but these levels will only gradually unlock as you play through the story and get better, because you're going to have to start off as a rookie and work your way up the ranks to impress Commander Black, which is your superior who sends you out on all kinds of missions. Every single run is going to be different, and you get to choose between a starter every single time. These consist of Poipole and 2 other new Ultra Beast, Voltorb and Irelusk. These, however, are not the only new Ultra Beasts, because as you get further into your journey, you will come across these strange creatures, which are actually Ultra Beasts, but they have probably died out in the last 300 years because they have not been seen in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. Every run you can also pick a support Pokemon, which are special Pokemon that grant you unique benefits and aid you in battle, but you're only limited to 1 at a time, and the further you get, the more chances you have to evolve them and make their effects even better. The last thing I'm going to touch upon is the artifacts and mount. At the beginning of the game, you can pick a mount between Solgaleo and Lunala, and once you get enough coins, which you get after after completing missions, you can upgrade these to shiny mounts, which is super cool. Then you have artifacts, which are basically just held items for your character. They will give you XP boosts and other kinds of very nifty abilities to help you out throughout your runs as well. You can pick a new one every time you get to a new stage. And what do you have to do once you saved Ultra Space from Necrozma? Well, jump to this portal and see what our number 7 pick is. First, a word to the sponsor of this video. I can't believe I'm saying this, but this video is sponsored by Atlus's new game Persona 5 Tactica, which is out now on Xbox Series X and S, as well as Xbox One, Windows PC, PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and Steam, so you can play it basically anywhere. The reason why I'm so hyped for this collaboration is because Persona is actually my favorite game series of all time. I have hundreds of hours in Persona 5 Royal, Persona 5 Strikers, and Persona 4 Golden. So that just goes on to tell you that Persona 5 Tactica is going to be no different for me, as we're about to jump into a new adventure with the Phantom Thieves in this new turn-based strategy game. In the Persona series, you basically explore a metaverse which is born from humanity's subconscious desires. In here, you have to battle enemies like shadows with your persona, so you can change the heart of the people that have gone too far off the rails. What always drags me into the Persona series is the incredibly written characters that will actually feel like your friends. My personal favorite is Ryuji, who turns out to be a thug with a heart of gold and is your very best friend. Another thing about Persona is that they always have the best music. I listen to this while I edit, while I game, basically anywhere, and Persona 5 Tactica is no different, with a soundtrack that is so exquisite, even royalty listens to it. I also really like the gameplay in Tactica, as you have to be very strategic if you want to defeat your enemies and place them in the exact right spots to get the max out of them. You even have special abilities, guns, and a special DLC pack that's available right now where you can play with two of the most beloved characters, Kasumi and Akechi. So if you're into great storylines, amazing music, impeccable character design, and turn-based strategy games like Pokemon, this will definitely be for you. Persona 5 Tactica is available right now, so get ready to steal some hearts. But now it's time to get back to the video. But something went wrong, because this portal brought us to a very weird dimension where there's over 100,000 new Pokemon. How is that even possible? Well, I'll tell you. It's called fusing, baby. That's right, our number 7 pick is Pokemon Infinite Fusion, where you, yet again, play through a Kanto region. I know we've all done this like a million times at this point, but what makes Infinite Fusion so special is not only the fusions itself, I'll touch on that later, but its actual revamped story. This time, you don't only battle Team Rocket because they want to take over the world and be the biggest mafia ever. No, they want to create the strongest Pokemon, Zap Molkuno, a very powerful triple fusion that Giovanni acquires in the manga and is actually been brought into the game. And you're the only one who can save the world from it. And once you've done that and become Pokemon League champion, there is an entire post-game that's even better than the main story, in my opinion, as you have to go through the Johto region and some of the Sevi Islands in order to become champion a second time and take on an even stronger being than Zap Molkuno. If you want to know more about it, you can check out my videos on it, or what I'd recommend even more, play the game yourself, as there's literal infinite ways to play this game. I mean, it's in the name. You can make so many Pokemon fusions. Your team is probably going to look different every single time you play it, and once you start getting legendaries by maybe playing a randomizer, you are going to get some of the most beautiful sprites on your screen you will ever see. And it feels so good once you finally defeat your rival with your dream team of Pokemon fusions. And be honest, if you could fuse any two Pokemon together in a real Pokemon game, what would you make? Because I'd love to see all your crazy ideas. But an experiment went wrong in the fusion world, which blew up the entire realm and shot us into our number 6 pick, Pokémon Flux. And while this game is still in beta, I have a feeling that this could maybe one day take the number 1 spot for most beautiful and best thought out fan game ever made. And that might also have something to do with the creators who have actually worked on Pokémon Uranium, the banned game. But that's not what we're checking out right now. We're checking out the Alterra region, which might have the best looking graphics out of any fan game I've personally ever played. The game is filled with beautiful Fakemon and new regional forms for already existing Pokemon, and I just know a lot of you will love this regional form of Zorua. As for the 3 starters, you have a burning dinosaur chick, a grassy moth that can look into the future, and a buff dolphin. I mean, what more do you want? They also have their very own gimmicks called Alter Pokemon and Flux moves. Alter Pokemon are basically stronger Pokemon in the wild that go rampant and destroy certain environments, so you're going to need these new Flux moves in order to take them down. Flux moves kind of work like Z moves. They make your regular moves stronger, and on top of that, they boost your stats. So it's almost always recommended to use one in battle. This game has some of the most memorable characters you'll ever see, from an amazing champion to 2 companions that will follow you around your journey, and the character you get will also depend on the starter Pokemon you choose. They also threw away the gym challenge, as there is an entire new way for you to get through the story compared to regular Pokemon games. So if this all sounds neat to you, make sure to check out Pokemon Flux for yourself. But now it's time for you to choose. Do you want to skip number 5 and head straight to number 4? Or do you want to stick around and check out Pokemon Pathways, where all your decisions matter and impact the story drastically? That's right, Pokemon Pathways is on this list, and it managed to get number 5 not because of its incredible story or graphics, but because it does everything so differently from regular Pokemon games that it makes it so much fun and really refreshing to play through. If you've ever played the Persona series, you can see that there's a lot of things borrowed from it, in my opinion. Might be from other games, but for me, it reminds me of Persona, which is a very good thing because it's my favorite game series of all time. And I'm once again so incredibly stoked that they're sponsoring this video. Like, this is a dream come true. You don't even realize. But I'm getting off topic a bit, so let's get into what I really mean. Well, you start off your journey as a student, and on your very first day, there is a lot that can happen before you get put into the actual school. For example, on my first day, I fought a Hitmonchan in hand-to-hand combat, which I loved. I had a dream where an alternate version of myself killed my mother, which turned out to not be true. I helped out a girl that was being stalked by a creep, and I had to run from the police. And all of this happened before I was even in school. That just shows you how much effort there's been put into this masterpiece. Later in the game, you have to pick your mentor, and depending on who you choose, you will have different missions and outcomes. You'll be able to take on evil team bases and become their bosses even, which is a point that I never reached in my playthrough, unfortunately. There's a card game you can play. Character stats such as intelligence, strength, charm, and skill, which you can level up by going to school, reading at the library, going to the dojo to beat up some karate masters, and date your fellow students. So can you graduate the Academy of Pokemon Pathways and become one of the most notorious students around by either choosing the good or evil path? Well, you have to find that out for yourself, because we're taking the middle of the road and heading straight into the best fan game that released this year, Pokémon Myth. Let me just start off with this. Every type now has an evolution. I know all of you want that, and Myth just made that dream come true. On top of that, there is also new Mega Evolutions and regional forms for already existing Pokemon. Like, there's now a Mega Sylveon and a super cool Volcarona and Zoroark form, and it also has some very decent Fakemon on top of that as well. My personal favorite was like this Fire Steel Snake that makes for a great team member on your journey through the Mythen region. You basically start off as a 16-year-old kid, and you have to take down 2 evil teams, Team Corrupt and Team Astra. Team Corrupt wants to create a Pokemon world where everybody can live in peace, but that's not possible because of all of the climate change and natural disasters that are happening right now, which at some points gets really real, because in the real world there is obviously climate change as well, and that is why Team Corrupt is actually one of my favorite evil teams of all time. Their vision is one that a lot of people share and can really get into, and while their intentions are right, the way that they're trying to achieve this perfect world is not it. Hence why we have to take them down with the help of our friends and the champion herself, the daughter of Cynthia. How cool is that? Cynthia having a daughter, and she's one of our best friends, and she's a champion in a different region. But then on the other hand, you have Team Astra, who are all about power. They're being led by a champion of a foreign region that's been banished because he was too cruel and strong. And if you want to stop him and win him over, you're going to have to defeat him in a battle in the end. But he has the legendary Mega Rayquaza by his side, so watch out. He's no pushover. I don't want to spoil too much, but Pokémon Myth has an incredible amount of content waiting for you. And while it might not be the #1 fan game of all time, it is definitely the best one of 2023. But wait, do you hear that alarm? Oh no, the nuclear reactor is about to explode and kill one of your most beloved family members, your mother. That's how the story of perhaps the most well-known and infamous fan game begins. Pokémon Uranium starts you off in the Tander region as a little boy. Just like on a regular journey, you have to collect 8 gym badges, but there is something very different about this one. Because of the nuclear explosion at the beginning of the game, a ton of Pokemon have been affected by it and turned into nuclear types. A typing that is super effective against everything except for itself. And it also created a new evolution, a Nucleon. Across the entire region, these nuclear Pokemon are causing havoc, and you, the main hero, have to take them down and save them from themselves, but also save the people they're harassing. The game is pretty old already, as it came out back in 2016. I do remember playing it back then when it first came out, but I've never actually made a video on it. So if you guys want me to play through Uranium with a challenge run or to just tell the story, let me know in the comments down below and I'll be happy to do so. It has some pretty cool starters. They only have 2 evolutions, but then you can mega evolve them to turn them into this really cool, fierce and strong creature. Dunsparce also has an evolution that's actually dragon type, unlike the Dunsparce. You have some really amazing Fakemon and characters that will stick in your mind for ages. I mean, I haven't touched the game in like 8 years and I still remember the story and characters very vividly. And the legendary is actually a Uranium Pokemon itself called Urain that just has so much personality. On top of all of this, Game Freak struck the game down many years ago, so unfortunately it's no longer being updated or worked on, but doesn't that make the game even better? Well, I guess you have to find that out for yourself, because we're moving on to number 2. Another old but gold one, but this time we're looking at Pokémon Insurgence. The game where you fight a million cults, Darkrai cultists, Giratina cultists. I mean, you're even fighting M&J's Team Sky in this, basically. You have literally the best megas ever created. There is a mega Pokemon for Stunfisk, there is a mega form for Flygon, which everybody always wants. The starters Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle have some of the most iconic and well-known regional forms ever created, with Squirtle being a Ninja Turtle, Bulbasaur being a little sweet guy that you can just eat up, and Charmander straight up being dead. There's a million side quests across the game that let you capture a ton of your very own regional forms, like Grimer and Apom. There's just so many twists and turns, from seeing your friend being turned into half of a Deoxys because the Pokeros virus is now affecting people, to having legendary and mythical Pokemon helping you out to solve puzzles, which created some of the best moments and memories I've ever had in playing Pokemon. I've streamed this game, I have done an egglog on it, and recently I've been thinking to do some kind of other run because I always want to come back to it and check it out again. And there is not a lot of games that can do that for me. I really could go on and on about Pokémon Insurgence. I know it's old and I know a lot of people have seen it already, but it is just the truth that this game is nothing short but a masterpiece. There is only one game in my vast collection of fan games that I've played that can top Pokémon Insurgence. This game is so good that it has its very own anime opening, a story and post game that blows Game Freaks out of the water a million times. Over 1 million people have now seen me play this game, and that is just what makes me incredibly happy to announce to you that the winner of the best fan game ever is Xenoverse. This game has made me cry, laugh, shocked me a million times over. I'm pretty sure I was even dreaming about it at some point, but believe me when I say that this is 100% Zwiggo approved. You have to play this if you want a taste of what Pokemon can really be. I mean, it has Fakemon. Literally the best Fakemon ever. Your starters have astral forms which turn them into these godlike beings with straight up godlike stats and the power to destroy you in an instant. Your father goes missing as a child and you have to embark on this journey to try and find him, but also to obviously become the destined chosen trainer that you really are. Your rival is a cyborg that will start out as this bully but will slowly grow into one of your best friends. You have this girl that's in love with you but doesn't really speak it out, but it's super clear, and you have this really playful, bouncy relationship with her that's still very serious. You see a lot of characters from other games because this game is also set in the future and in an alternate timeline where a thing called the Xenoverse exists, which is basically this different world where regional forms of Pokemon live, but also there's not really any life there. And you get to know this place a lot more throughout your journey, and as you learn more, you realize that a lot of the troubles and problems in this world stem from the Xenoverse. You fight literal gods in this game. I mean, there's a reason why I have made 2 videos on this game that total over 2 hours and 30 minutes of content. It really just never stops coming. Like, Xenoverse will keep you on your toes at all times. There is always something to do. Even if you finish the story, there is challenges that you can complete, and I thoroughly believe that even if you gave me 100 hours in this game, I couldn't even do half of it. So if all of that still doesn't pull you over into trying Xenoverse, there is 9 other games you can try out, because this is the end of my top 10 Pokemon fan game list. I very much hope that you guys enjoy these picks and have some fun with them yourselves, because playing Pokemon fan projects is one of my favorite things to do, and I love sharing it with you all. Once again, if you disagree with anything on my list, let me know in the comments down below, and then we can fight about it. Not actually, it's totally fine to not like the same stuff as I do, and I'd love it even more if you respect each other's opinions in the comments as well. With all of that out of the way, I'm going to end off this video by thanking my membership and Patreon supporters, but also all of the beautiful creators of these Pokemon fan games, because they've managed to keep me busy for quite some time already. Once again, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Persona 5 Tactica. I still can't really fathom that my favorite game series is sponsoring me, so definitely check out the game in the description. It will help me out so much. And with all of that out of the way, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. I'm Zwiggo, and I'll see you all next time.